Today I'm going to be going over the best Nvidia control panel settings for gaming to get the best performance in 2025. Now this is going to work for every single game. You are going to boost your FPS, and whether you are on Nvidia or not, you can still take something from this video. Yes, a lot of these settings can be translated and mirrored to AMD Radeon settings or whatever GPU control panel you have. So if this helps, drop a like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and let's get straight into it. So first of all, we need to locate our Nvidia control panel. Now to do that, you can simply right click your desktop and it will probably be here. If not, you can type it in. I've just spelled it wrong, but yeah, you can type it in like this, Nvidia control panel. And if it still isn't here, but you definitely have an Nvidia GPU, what you want to do is go into the Microsoft Store and you can download it from there. So to make it very clear, I'm going to show this in the fastest way possible and give you guys just all the best settings without taking too much of your time. So starting off within the 3D settings right here, you want to go to adjust image settings with preview, and just to be safe, we're going to go to use my preference emphasizing and drag this all the way down. It should either be in the middle by default, or maybe you've got on quality, which is crazy, but drag it down to performance and press apply. Once you have done that, you can go back to use the advanced 3D image settings. Make sure you do this, by the way, and then press apply and then press take me there. Now it should take you into this manage 3D settings tab. What we want to do is essentially copy all these settings, but it isn't that simple. There will be some that are very, user specific. It depends on your hardware. So I do have some very in-depth videos on this, but to put it simply, first of all, image scaling, turn this off. You don't need it. And if you do need it, or you think you need it, you probably don't need it, because if you want the best performance and you're trying to scale your image to get a higher resolution, using a lower resolution will give you the best performance. And as we are technically not here to improve your game quality, yeah, have this on off. Ambient occlusion off. These are like some of the must-haves, right? Have these on off. Ambient occlusion, anisotropic filtering, I always said that wrong. Anti-aliasing, all of the anti-aliasing ones, have them off. Background application max refresh rate, have that turned off. CUDA GPUs, have that on all if you have this option. CUDA sysmem fallback policy, driver default, this is the safest option. DSR factors off. Low latency mode, now this is a very, very important one. Per tests, a lot of people find that you do want this turned on, but you don't want it turned on or set to ultra. I worded that quite complicated. You don't want it set to ultra, basically. You want to have it just set to on. Now, you can try this. It may be different per system, but generally speaking, having this on ultra actually does the opposite and will actually induce input lag, at least compared to the on option. I guess if you compare it to the off option, yeah, it will still help, but not as much as the on option, which, sounds counterintuitive. It isn't. You will have an option in-game called Nvidia low reflex or reflex low latency mode. In-game, you want to set that to on plus boost. Ideally, have it on plus boost. And that paired with this on and not having this on ultra is going to be the best for reducing latency. Hopefully that makes sense. Now moving on, max frame rate off. You don't want to cap your frame rate at any point here. You can do that in-game if you need to. Multi-frame sampled AA off. These are very, they're nuanced features. They're things that, you don't need for the best performance. If you want the best performance, you don't turn these on. This is for like the best quality. A lot of these are best quality settings and not best performance settings. That's why we are disabling most of them here. OpenGL GDI compatibility, have it on auto. OpenGL rendering GPU, set this to your GPU. So it may be on auto select. This isn't like a make or break, but you're better off just selecting your GPU to be safe. Power management mode. Of course, we don't want any power saving features on because they will limit our performance. So have this on prefer maximum performance, which, it's in the title, it's in the name. Preferred refresh rate, of course, highest available. You don't want to have this application controlled because it may try and lower your refresh rate, increase your input delay, because of course, if you have a lower refresh rate, everything is moving at a slower rate, which in turn will affect your physical response time. Shader cache, a lot of people will say have this on like one of the highest options, like which isn't unlimited, so like 100 gigabytes. But for the most part, you're going to be safe on unlimited. You won't really have a problem with this. If you feel you have a problem with this, which you again probably won't be able to tell, and honestly, just set it to unlimited. But if you're worried, do it on 100. But for the best performance, have this on unlimited. I don't know. People complain, like some people will say, oh, have it on like unlimited is dangerous, or like for the most part, if you're keeping your system relatively clean, like you're clearing out your system, you're maintaining it per se, and you're also updating your drivers and keeping on top of stuff, unlimited is completely fine. And I say that particularly because I think every time you update your driver, your shader cache actually resets, which means you have to build this up. And actually, that's why when you update your driver, initially what will happen is you will actually have some FPS drops. Your performance won't be good for a while your shader cache kind of builds up, and then it will get, you know, very, very good. Texture filtering, have this on. This is a little bit different. So this anisotropic tilt, I can never say that, but filtering option, you want this one on. Negative LOD BIOS, have that on allow. Texture filtering quality, high performance. I think out of these three, this is like the only one you really will need to change. I think the rest are default. Trilinear optimization, I'm really butchering these words, on. Threaded optimization, this is again quite a debated one. Have this on auto. For the most part, your game is going to decide what it's doing here. It's going to decide how this is going to work, and it's going to be different for every system. So if you have a low-end GPU, you actually may be better having this one off. But of course, you can, you know, just test it. You can enable it per game or enable it on your system entirely. If you are, you know, focused on gaming primarily and you mainly just play video games on your system, you can see which works better for you. I know that's really annoying to hear, but that's primarily why I keep mine on auto. But I think in terms of like Fortnite, I have this turned on, like it is enabled. So do with that as you will. Triple buffering, turn off. Vertical sync off 100%. You don't want that on unless you have like a system where you're just about scraping 60 FPS, and you may need it in that case. I've made a whole video on this. It's too much to discuss in this video, but I made a whole video about, you know, G-Sync versus V-Sync versus FreeSync. And if you're interested, check that out after this one. All right, virtual reality pre-rendered frames, have this on 1, this on off, Vulkan OpenGL preset. These are all like, I think these are all related to virtual reality as it you know, clearly says, and they're probably not useful for you whatsoever. So yeah, have them on the default options. I believe these are the default options. Now, some more interesting stuff. What we can do, and also, by the way, to clarify before people comment, I did not save them because I've already done them. So it would just be futile. Now, this is something that some of you will be able to access. It's actually, you know, you may not be able to see it currently, but if you go down to, I believe it is desktop and enable developer settings, I believe this will show up, or maybe it shows up by default and this one will show up. Actually, that makes more sense. Yes, I'm completely wrong. This here will show up, but actually, I don't know if everyone has this. Nonetheless, what you want to do, Fxtch settings, have this set to your GPU, and developer, we may as well go down to that now because I'm on the topic of it. You'll have this extra little tab after enabling this, and just have it on allow access to GPU performance counters to all users. All right, now going back up to display, kind of went off track a little bit there. Change resolution, have this on your refresh rate to its highest refresh rate, so whatever the highest option is, of course, and have this set on the native resolution. So for most of you, that'd be 1920 by 1080. Scroll down. A lot of people don't do this, and it's not mentioned in most videos, but very important. You want to use the Nvidia color settings and just copy what I've got here. So desktop color depth highest and output dynamic range on full. I think by default this is on limited, so have it set to full and not limited. Adjust desktop color settings. This is completely optional. This is what I use. I think these are really good, but I also have a full video on this if you want to watch it. This is not going to change your FPS, for example, by any means. Going down now, skipping a few because these don't really do anything for us. Adjust desktop size and position. For the most part, you want to have this scaling mode on no scaling, at least if you are not using a stretch resolution, and most of you will not be. Perform scaling if you can on your display. If you only got GPU, you probably have an outdated monitor, and it's going to give you a little bit more input lag compared to performing scaling on your display. So if you can, upgrade your monitor, and if you know, it's not a big deal. One of my second monitor, for example, if I click into here, only has GPU, but I don't use it for gaming, so I'm good. I don't know why I tried to relate, but yeah, for the most part, display, you want to have this on display. It will help a ton. And why not, while I'm here, I'll show you this. Pointless because it's default. And maybe I've changed something here, but ideally I would avoid it. You don't ever want to be using any like super resolution or high dynamic range settings because they're going to cause performance issues. I think actually all of these will cause some kind of latency to your display, which is not recommended. But I don't know if I've mentioned this already. I feel like I did, but I have a full video on monitor settings as well. I've literally got a video on everything, guys. So go and check those out. But that is everything for your Nvidia control panel. This is the most optimized your Nvidia control panel could ever be. And I'm talking like they never update this thing. So for like the next year, you're set.